You ever feel too small for the moment you're in, like life just dropped you into a situation way bigger than you? That's where David found himself, not a warrior, not a hero. He was the youngest son in a big family. His job, watching sheep alone in the hills day after day, quiet, simple, but it was there, out in that stillness, that something started growing in him. Not just strength, but a kind of trust in something bigger than himself, wide view of an ancient battlefield. Tense tension, one army silent, the other laughing. Now, here's the picture: the army of Israel is frozen in fear. On the other side of the valley is Goliath, a giant, over 9 feet tall, covered in armor, voice like thunder. Every day he steps forward and roars, "Send someone to fight me," but no one moves. You can't blame them.
The valley fell silent, save for the wind and the giant's roar.
"You dogs of Israel, send out your champion!"
This guy was terrifying. David walking up to camp, food basket in hand, confused by what he sees. David shows up just to bring food to his older brothers. He's a delivery boy, but when he hears this giant mocking his people and mocking God, he gets this look on his face. Not fear, not confusion, but something else, conviction. His brothers laugh. They try to shut him down. Saul looks skeptical. He starts asking, "Why isn't anyone doing anything?" His brothers roll their eyes. "Go home, David, this isn't for you." Even King Saul looks him up and down and says, "You're just a boy. This man's been killing since before you were born." But David doesn't back down. He says, "When I was watching my father's sheep, I fought off lions. Bears, I protected what mattered, not by my strength, but because God helped me." Then he says the one thing that flips the whole moment. "Let me go, I'm not afraid." David picking up 5 smooth stones at the river, quiet moment. Then he steps onto the battlefield, alone, so they let him go. No armor, no sword, just a sling. 5 stones and faith. Goliath steps forward, laughs, towering over David. Goliath steps out, looks at this kid, and laughs. "What is this, a joke? You send a child with sticks." But David doesn't flinch. He says, "You come at me with a sword and a spear, but I come at you in the name of the Lord, the one you mocked." Then he runs toward him. Cinematic slow motion. David spins the sling. 1 stone flies. Silence. The sling spins. 1 stone flying through the air. It hits Goliath right between the eyes. He stumbles and falls face down. Silence. Israeli army shocked. Then rising, running forward. No one could believe it. A boy, who didn't look like much, took down the biggest threat they'd ever seen. Not with brute strength, not with armor, but with courage and trust.
It wasn't me. It was God.
And 1 bold step forward, David standing alone, breathing heavy. Then walking away quietly, no celebration, just peace. And David, he didn't throw his hands in the air. He didn't shout. He stood still and walked away, olive tree swaying in the breeze, peaceful background music. Soft fade in of David's face, then fade out to warm golden sky. That story didn't end on the battlefield. It started something bigger, because David's faith, his quiet, steady faith, became the foundation for a life God would use in powerful ways. But this moment reminds us of something simple and real. The giants in your life, fear, doubt, failure, they might look unbeatable. But you're not fighting them alone, and maybe courage doesn't look like yelling or fighting. Maybe it looks like stepping forward with what you do have, even if it's just a sling and a stone. Because sometimes, God doesn't need you to be strong. He just needs you to trust Him, even when you feel small.